Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we'll be looking at the Hizen, the new Tier 9 premium Japanese battleship. That isn't the Musashi or the Yamato, but sort of. So this actually was one of the designs that led up to the Yamato. This, I think, was the J3 design. And as is common with a lot of these ships, it never existed more than as a sketch on paper. So I figured, instead of talking about, once again, various Yamato designs, which everybody's probably slightly sick of by now, I figured let's have a look at the name. So why is this ship called, if the ship never existed, where does the name Hizen come from? Well, Hizen comes from an old Japanese province, and there was a Japanese battleship that was called the Hizen. Although she didn't start out as a Japanese battleship, she started out as a Russian battleship, built by the Americans, named after a Swedish ship that the Russians had captured some 200 years earlier. And that was called the FREDJI. Now that ship was commissioned by the Russians from an American shipbuilder because their own shipyards were full, but they wanted to build up their Pacific fleet. So when the FREDJI was completed, she was over in the Pacific at Port Arthur, where the Japanese and the Russians had a different idea who was going to run that bit of China. Let me put it that way. And she participated in the siege of Port Arthur and was actually surprise torpedoed by the Japanese and then sunk. Well, the port wasn't particularly deep, so bits of her were still sticking out and she was still kind of useful. So the Russians patched the ship up again and raised it again. And then were trying to get to Vladivostok, but that didn't quite work out as well. So they went back to Port Arthur only to find out that the Japanese had taken the place over entirely. And then the FREDJI was sunk by Japanese coastal artillery, sunk for proper this time. Only that the Japanese then decided to, well, raise her again and rename her the Hizen. And then that ship was sent by the Japanese back to America, more or less, or in the direction of America, but then was chasing after the Germans during the First World War, only then later on to be sunk as a target ship because of the whole Washington Treaty shenanigans. So we have a Russian ship built in America, named after a Swedish ship, sunk by the Japanese, lifted by the Russians, sunk by the Japanese again, raised by the Japanese, renamed, and then going off to try and fight the Germans, which they didn't find. And that was the original Hizen. And I figured that was much more interesting than going on about yet another blueprint. So, that out of the way, what do we have here? Well, the not-quite-Yamato. Obviously, being Tier 9, we're going to have to compare her to the other Tier 9s that are sitting around, which is the Izumo, which is the Tech Tree Japanese Tier 9, and the Musashi, which is also not quite the Yamato, but almost, but is also at Tier 9. So let's begin with probably the more logical comparison, the Izumo. The first thing that stands out is that the Hizen gets a rapid reload rather than the commonplace precise aiming skill, which is a bit of a shame, really. But other than that, she is very, very similar to the Izumo, has a little bit more hit points, and everything else is very comparable in terms of speed, maneuverability, and everything. She does get more guns, though. So it's the same guns that we have on the Izumo, the 410mm L50s. But she gets the Pommern treatment and gets 4 triple turrets. In return, the guns, despite being the exact same guns, are distinctly worse than on the Izumo. They have a 25-second base reload, which is where the rapid reload comes in, I guess. They have a shorter range, they do less damage, have a lower fire chance, and are just, I don't know, entirely garbage compared to the Izumo's guns. The secondaries are completely identical, down to the number and power of the auto secondaries. And the AA is comparable. I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference. The Izumo has a slightly better AA and a very much so slightly better concealment. So what if we compare her to the Musashi? Now the Musashi was an actual ship that existed, so she gets the actual proper Yamato treatment. So here we see that the Musashi has, well, significantly better armor plating and actually gets the really, really big 460mm guns with also a long reload, but they're 460mm guns and they have an almost 15-kilometer range. So that's a slightly different story altogether. So lots of guns, but no precise aiming, long reload, and individually worse guns than the Izumo. How have I set her up? I have put the main battery mod 3 in here because the dispersion can be a bit trollish, sort of. Yeah, you don't get the precise aiming skill. So having the main battery mod 3 in here is kind of a good thing to do. You might be tempted to go with the main battery mod 2 and go down the American route of throw enough shells down range, and eventually something will hit. That might work as well. I have the deck protection mod in slot 2 rather than propulsion, because this is a Japanese ship and they burn about as bad as the Germans do. So this is sorely needed. And then we've got steering in 3. So what does that all get us to? That gets us to a 15-second turn time, which it's a tier 9 battleship. It's to be expected. She's occasionally quick. I think the Großer Kurfürst is actually going to be faster in acceleration by now after the recent buffs than this thing. The gun's reload time is down to 24 seconds, and the range isn't glorious. Everything else is just kind of worse than on the Izumo. And the rest of the stuff is pretty much identical. What have we not looked at? Elite bonus, I missed that one. So you do get the choice between torpedo damage reduction and slightly better main battery. I kind of went with the slightly better main battery because you do have a lot of guns. Torpedo damage reduction on Japanese ships is actually not a terrible idea occasionally, because she does start out with a 21% torpedo damage reduction. So you could go for a total torpedo defense build, and you could get yourself 2% from the elite bonus, and then in slot 3 actually use the get another 15% here. Given that, you might be coming under concentrated carrier attack occasionally, it might be a thing. But yeah, with the armor being okay but not outstanding, I would say I prefer to be able to maneuver a little bit better and try to get these guns on target. I have put a level 10 commander in here. So given that now you get the rapid reload instead of the precise aiming, it's a slightly different setup. Everything else is pretty much identical up to the point where you're not taking the marksman skill, but you can take fully prepared instead. Although if you want to share a captain, it's kind of iffy, because you would have two skills that are kind of out of whack here, where you want the master reloader, and you don't really want the marksman skill. But other than that, I actually have the close quarters combat expert, because if you need to, with a 24-second base reload, if you need to defend yourself against destroyers, especially that you do have pretty good secondaries on this ship, actually, it's not a terrible choice to get that dispersion down. You definitely want the extinguisher skill. And yeah, where you would probably take compartment maintenance or honor seeker, you want the master reloader for this setup. You can get a historical camo. You can get an anime camo, which we're going to be blatantly ignoring, but you can also get a historical camo, which gives you hit points, range, dispersion, and torpedo damage reduction, which is all actually not bad in terms of things. Now, in the games that you're about to see, the Hizen is not going to be using her anti-aircraft guns. And I don't know why that is. It's yet another cute bug that has been seemingly introduced in one of the recent patches. But it hasn't happened very often to me, but it has happened repeatedly to me on the Hizen. So be assured that this actually works in practice at some point when they fix it. Yeah, I have reported it, don't worry about it, and so have others. But yeah, don't be surprised if you see carriers attacking the ship and not actually doing anything. So what do we have in summary here? We have a ship that is, I would say, solid, but not necessarily outstanding. Let me show you. In our first battle, it's a domination match on the blue front map, and which is a new map. I think that came out with the last slightly unfortunate update. And it's a tier 9 game, so we've got double Iowa, Pommern, Amagi, Drake, Fiji, and 1 destroyer. So it is a domination. I think the map is, well, it's new. I haven't actually played it before. This is my first time playing this. We'll see how this turns out, but I like domination maps in general. Now, this being a Japanese battleship, you kind of generally want to be at long range. That said, you don't get the precise aiming, but you do get more guns, so, and a rapid reload, which kind of compensates for that a little bit. All right, 1 destroyer. So what do you think my chances are I'm going to run into that one? Okay, I'm going to go for, the destroyer is going to spawn center, so he's going to go for B cap and then either going to go A or D. So I'm going to head over to A cap and see where we can do something over there. I do want to try to stay at range as much as possible because there isn't a whole lot of cover over here. And yeah, so there is an island, but I do want to get the capture circle. So such that we don't actually know where the destroyer is. Might not be at B cap at all because B cap hasn't been captured yet. So the destroyer might have been going somewhere differently. Okay, first enemy battleship spotted. What is that? It's the Pommern. Okay, let's say hello to him and make our presence known. Now, I am going to go for this cap, and I'm going to have to try and, yeah, of course I'm spotted now, but I'm going to have to try and, oh, there's also an Iowa. Let's see if any one of these guys is starting to shoot at me. Because I am an isolated battleship going for a cap. This is not usually what you do in a Japanese battleship, but hey, someone's got to do it, right? And it doesn't look like the people behind me are particularly interested in going anywhere near here. Oh, there's double Iowa, and of course they're starting to take me on fire, so this is going to hurt, but I want that capture circle. Still no indication of where the destroyer is. I have no idea where that Z went. Iowa, notoriously squishy, but at this range, not so sure. I don't want to turn in here because again I don't know where that destroyer is. So I want to keep my speed up, which means I'm gonna have to give broadside to an Iowa, unfortunately. And these things can hurt, but I do also want to get the A cap before I'm gonna go out again. Okay, A cap secured, and now we are opening up the distance. Iowa is just sitting there stationary, pulling the trigger every 30 seconds or so, which I really don't understand how people play Battleship that way. I mean, this is isn't it dull? Is what I'm wondering. Okay, let's take the speed out because it looks like he's actually reversing away. So he has realized that he's too. There are 2 battleships behind me supporting me here, so I've traded 20,000 points of damage and a busted turret, but at least we have, and I am still spotted, which means that the destroyer is around here somewhere, because the Iowa is now outside my spotting range. I haven't fired my guns in a while, because I have nothing in range to shoot at. So there is a destroyer here somewhere. Oh, he's an A-cup. Okay, so he's coming from this corner, probably, and yeah, there's the Z-23. So there are probably torpedoes in the water now. So we'll switch over to the high explosive, and if we can dodge that torpedo spread, that would be good. Yep, torpedo spread dodged. And now we just have to kill that thing. It'd be great if you 2 people there could be helping a little bit. I don't know. You know, there's a destroyer right in front of you. I know this is the Asian server where killing destroyers when you're in a battleship is frowned upon, but I don't know. It might be a great idea. What do you think? Do you want to help me? Okay, I'll wait for him to do the full turn. You had a perfect broadside to shoot at him, by the way. Okay, that's almost killed him, which means I'm going to take some torpedoes. So we're going to put her in reverse, full turn left, and see how many we can dodge and heal up a little bit. I should be able to survive that. Pretty good torpedo protection on this thing, and these are German torpedoes, not Japanese ones. So that thing is dead, but now I'm broadsiding the Iowa again. So let's, and of course he's shooting at me, unsurprisingly. Let's unload the high explosive at that thing, switch back to the armor piercing, and see if we can open up a little bit. All right then. Now, if you 2 clowns could probably capture A-cap. There's nothing left. I killed the destroyer. You have nothing to fear. There's a lone Iowa, and he's half a map away. And there's 3 of us. Would you mind getting into the capture circle? Really, people? At least the Iowa stopped shooting at me. That's a blessing. So Iowa is still reversing, and no, they're not. They're not interested in the capture circle either. Could you please capture A? You two, yes, yes, move forward. Just a little bit. Just so you sit inside the capture circle. There you go. You see, it's not that hard. You don't need to be in a destroyer to do this. It's perfectly possible to do this in a battleship as well. Okay, that Iowa's dead, either to my shells or to these deep water torps. And this Xianyang takes him out. Well done. What else have we got left here? There's not much left, actually. There's a low health Iowa over that way. And there's a Drake somewhere there. So, yeah, that's something we can deal with. Okay, of course they're shooting at me. I'm gonna heal up a little bit more because I am sort of broadsiding. I think the Iowa is stopping. I don't want to get too close because, well, there's a Drake out there as well. Can we get the Iowa? No, we can't. Yeah, dispersion is at range is a bit of an issue in this ship, which means you have to kind of play a bit more aggressively, which then, of course, exposes you to danger a little bit more that you have to deal with. But while she is no Yamato in terms of armor, she's actually not dreadful. So let's see if we can get that Iowa killed. And yeah, Drake's giving me a perfect broadside. I'm not sure if he's after me, he's trying to torpedo me. Okay, Citadel on the Iowa wasn't enough. But let's change course and speed. Just making sure. I'm not super afraid of the Drake. I don't want to, but I don't want to give too much skirt to the Iowa. So let's get the forward guns out at the Iowa again. And I think he's just out of range. Okay, we'll murder the Drake then, because the Iowa is running. But yeah, I have backup now, and everybody has found their brave pills as it's coming along. So yeah, and the Drake's going to go down to the Xianyang's torps again. Well done, Xianyang. And now we just have to chase down that Iowa, who has run out of map to run away from. So, yeah, sorry, you're completely out of luck. This might be some Drake torps sailing by there, but okay. Yep, there come the Drake torps, but yeah, we all avoided them. Oh no, I think Amagi took one. That's the Iowa dead. That just leaves one battleship there on the far end to deal with. So yeah, still very much a... it's a Japanese battleship, but it's not one that you can necessarily play at close range, at long range, because of the lack of because of the dispersion and the lack of the precise aiming skill. Oh wait, Xianyang comes first. Well done. It's nice when battleships are just sitting stationary and running into your torpedoes and cruisers. I always enjoy that when I'm in my Xianyang. Very good ship, that, the Xianyang. Where did we come in the team? Let's see. 77,000 points of damage. It's not bad for a tier 9 battleship. And we came second in the team. Yeah, so we've done our share of capturing and other things. In the second battle, we are again in a domination match on fault line. And once again, we're in a tier 9 game. I think I just never got into a tier 10 game, honestly. I don't know why. It's not that she gets preferred matchmaking, but we do have an Essex, Amagi, Gasconia, Bismarck, lots of battleships in the enemy team. So, and one cruiser. So, yeah, I haven't got... I don't think she gets preferred matchmaking or anything. There's no such thing here, but... I don't think I've gotten into a tier 10 game with this thing, as far as I can remember. Maybe in one of the test games. But obviously, if you're playing tier 10, then you do have to be a lot more careful, and it actually becomes a lot more difficult. If you're top tier in this thing, you can play a lot more aggressively than otherwise. Which means that in a tier 10 game, you probably end up doing like 30,000-40,000 points of damage. And if you get focused, you die halfway through the battle. So that's just the life of tier 9 battleships, really. But right now, I'm going to support that Albemarle here and see that we can secure a cap, because securing cap circles is what you do in a battleship. Well, to be honest, there's nothing else but battleships in this game here, so I'm spotted and I don't see what spots me, so that's probably the Kutuzov. Yep, there he is. Okay, hello. Now the Kutuzov is a problem because, as I've mentioned, these things are getting set on fire very, very easily. Also, the Kutuzov has torpedoes, and I'm also getting shot at by, I think, the Gasconia over there, and of course the Kutuzov has a smoke. The other thing, though, is that the Kutuzov is a very, very squishy cruiser. So what we don't want is the Kutuzov to kite away. We need to kill that thing, and we need to kill it now. This means I am going to lose probably a bit of health here, and I am within the Kutuzov's torpedo range, and I am backing up as much as I can, but I'm giving broadside to the Gasconia, but we need to kill that Kutuzov now. And yeah, there come the torpedoes, so I might take a couple of those. That's why I'm holding back with the Damacon. Now I can Damacon such that it's active while the torpedoes are hitting, so I'm not getting flooded. Okay. I have lost a fair amount of health, but we have gotten some backup here, and we have killed the Kutuzov, because if that thing can kite away with my dispersion, there's no way I'm going to defeat him. But now Roma is coming in as well. And once again, I'm in a Japanese battleship. I've taken point, so I'm backing up a little bit, going bow in now, and let Roma do some of the tanking. But we have pushed them out of ACAP, and even if Roma wasn't coming to help, I think we would probably still have been able, Albemarle and me would have been able to get rid of Gascogne there. So that's one thing. But now we've got A secured, which means we're holding all 3 capture circles. I don't know who captured B, I haven't paid attention, but probably that battleship that died. But now it's just a matter of chasing Gascogne away, and there you go again with the dispersion. So at 12, 13 kilometers, of course he's shooting at me, not at the Roma in front of me, which makes sense because I'm a low health battleship. But yeah, dispersion at long range isn't grand, and you really just kind of have to see that stuff. That you get stuff on target eventually. She plays a bit more like an American battleship in that regard. So, yeah, once again, Gascogne shooting at me, but I can dodge a little bit under his shells. Okay, he's got the engine boost running, I think, because he's actually getting out of my gun range, and he's dead. Roma takes him out without taking any damage because he's been shooting at me all the time. But that's okay. That's what battleships are for, being shot at. Which means that now we have pretty much sorted out the everything. And we've got all 3 capture circles, so we've got a convenient points lead. We're 1 kill ahead, so this doesn't look too bad. And I've still got another heal coming up. Yeah, while we're waiting for something to actually come in range for us to shoot at again, the Hizen is a solid battleship. It's a solid tier 9. It's not outstanding. I would say I haven't played the Architecture Izumo, but I've played the Black Izumo, and I think they're probably relatively comparable. You can be, given that you've got a lot of guns, on occasion aggressive, and if you've got an enemy team that plays along and lets you get into close range brawls without focusing you too much, then that's that's not an issue. The problem is, of course, if you get into a tier 10 game, things like Yamatos or Vermonts will make very, very short work of you. So you have to play, but that is common for tier 9 battleships, very, very different in a tier 10 game than you would play when you're top tier. And I mostly find tier 10 battles in tier 9 battleships, rather underwhelming because it's just such a huge gap between them. Okay, now we actually, 2 of our teammates have managed to get themselves killed. And the cruiser there looks like he's giving it a damn good try as well. So, and of course the Yamagi is shooting at me, which is better than shooting at the Albemarle and the Roma. But I am running somewhat low on hit points at this stage, and I am running out of heals. But now he's noticed that there are actually targets that are much closer to him than me. So Roma can take the kill comfortably because I've been doing the tanking, and the Albemarle is just getting his first scratch on his paintwork while I'm down to 11,000 hit points. But yeah, all in all, that is okay. Once again, that's what you're here for in a battleship. So let's get B Cup back under control. And we're down to 3 on 3, plus we're holding B. So if these two guys are still full health, but I have to be a little bit careful. So I'm just going to stay here and try to get some long range shots out at the Yamagi, but that's probably all I'm going to be doing. So let's see what we can hit there. Torpedoes? Where? Airdrop torpedoes, maybe? I haven't seen any, and yeah, it's possibly at least were airdrop torpedoes. So yeah, I'm just gonna stay here and get some long-range shot out in the Yamagi, but Roma might be able to take him out, or the Albemarle with some high explosive. It's a solid battleship. It's oh no, I get him! Hey, I get my own kill. Thank you. It's a solid battleship. It's nothing really outstanding. And yeah, there you see the aircraft coming in, and you also see that my AA is not actually doing anything. So of course I get double fire. There's yet another Armagi that we can shoot at. But yeah, you see my AA is not reacting. So I got kind of lucky there. I was, but I'm very low on hit points, so I was a little bit early with my. The Albemarle's AA is working, but mine isn't. But I think I can still survive before the torpedo bombers are finishing me off. And yeah, can I still? No, I can't get shot off at the Amagi anymore. So just dodged the Amagi's shots. We're 900 hit points, and we survived the match because this doesn't count. And the Roma takes the win because, well, it had an easy game because everyone was shooting at me. Well, that's okay. Again, that's what you're there for in a battleship. Yeah, not an outstanding ship. It's a solid ship, I'd say. Struggles in tier 10 games and probably haven't had any, but I would expect her to struggle in tier 10 games the same way that a Black Izumo or a Tech Tree Izumo would struggle. But if you're in a tier 9 game, she's a pretty solid battleship. She's a bit more on the brawly side than you would otherwise assume, but she can take on the occasional DD with a relatively good torpedo defense and the emergency rapid reload for switching to high explosive. That's quite useful as well. So yeah, that's what this ship is in my opinion. If that's something that interests you and you're not scared of loot crates, I don't know if this thing comes in loot crates. But yeah, there you know what you get. So that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.